Today I'm going to be working on installing my solar panels. So I've got them kind of laid out here. I'll show you what I'm working with. I've got two Renogy 100 watt panels set side by side here, and I'm going to mount them to this channel iron like I did on my previous van, and then secure the ends of this iron to the van itself. So that'll be kind of its mounting system there. We'll go take a look at the van and show you what I'm thinking of doing. Okay, you can see the van here. I do have the fiberglass top here with the kind of factory little rack on the back. So I think I'm going to try to utilize that rack. I considered maybe using the front portion, but I think this is my best bet here, and I want to be a little bit away from the vent fan as to not get any shadows from that. So pretty sure I'm going to utilize this rack here. It's secured very well. It's screwed into the boards, the wooden boards that are molded into the underside of the fiberglass. So I'm going to have them going widthways, long ways this way. They'll probably come up to about right here, which will be beyond where the rack is. So I'm going to secure one end to the rack back here, and then the front end will be going right through the fiberglass. But I'm going to try to line it up to where it's going into one of the wooden boards that's molded on the inside of the fiberglass. So looking from the inside, this is the board I'm going to try to hit. So having those little pieces of channel iron coming up all the way to about here, securing one here and then one on the other side here, and then the panels will be going widthways that way. So I'm going to measure everything out to see if those will actually line up and I can hit that. If so, that'll probably be the way I go. Okay, so to be able to mount the solar panels to this here, I need to drill some holes in the solar panels along the side here. These are Renogy 100 watt panels, and they do come with holes here on the long edges, but because I'm going to be mounting these to this from this side, it'll actually be sitting like that. I need to drill a couple holes on each end here. So the whole trick to doing that is to be extremely careful when we drill through here to not go into the solar panel. So what I do is I set something down in there, a little thin piece of wood, to protect it in case I accidentally push through too hard. So got to be very careful because it's really easy to damage your solar panel doing this. Okay, so this is actually my old solar panel from my old van. I had two 100 watt panels, but I left one with Slim, so he had somewhat of a solar panel setup. So he's left with one 100 watt, the charge controller and the batteries I had. So I went ahead and bought one new one. That's this one here. So I'm going to be drilling the holes the same. I just got to make sure that I butt these up together how they're going to actually be to make sure that the holes line up with this one and the holes on here line up. So I'm going to get that set up. Okay, so I have the solar panel attached here, the front one. That way I've got it centered. So I've got enough track here to attach to the van, and on the back end I'm going to be using a U-bolt to go to the rack that's already existing on the van. So that'll go around the rack and still have enough room for the solar panel to fit in there. It'll be right next to it, but it does fit there. So I'm going to go ahead and mark two holes here, looking at this to make sure this is buttered up against there nice and tight. And then to drill the hole to make sure I don't go through and actually damage the solar panel, I've got this Z bracket laying around, so I'll just slide that in there. That way I'll hit this bracket before I hit the solar panel. Alright, we got the solar panels up. It looks like a perfect fit. So this is how I did the U-bolts here. I was able to go right around the existing rack. That worked out really good. The panels were a little bit wider. I would have been on the curve and it would have made it so that these U-bolts didn't work out as well. So I kind of just made it there. Now in the front, because of this rack ends, I'm going to have to go right into the fiberglass rooftop here, and we'll show you how I'm going to do that. The main challenge that I was running into with this setup here is, for one, the fiberglass top is curved this way, and it's also kind of curved this way, and then on the back it has this little change in elevation here. So where this rack is, it's lower, and then it steps up about a full ½ inch here. So Having it mounted here gives me a little bit of extra space up here, so I had to come up with something, and what I'm going to do is just put a block of wood in there. I'm going to paint it white, secure that to this here, and then I have these Renogy Z brackets that I'm going to go right to the fiberglass top, because this happens to line up right where that board is molded to the inside. So I'll be going through fiberglass plus 3/4 inches of wood as well, as far as these. So we'll go this to a block of wood to this, and then this to the rooftop. It's kind of a weird setup, but I think it's going to be the best. That way the front here is going to be lifted up just, I don't want it resting on the fiberglass top in the middle because it's curved this way. So having those wooden blocks is going to bring it up just a little bit. I'll be able to have my wires come up through a hole right there. So I'm going to get busy on getting that going. I'll show you the finished product. Okay, so moving along here on the solar setup, you can see I got the panels kind of propped up here. I am working on the wiring because I have two 100-watt panels and I've only got a positive and negative that I'm going to be running through the roof. I've got these little 2-in-1 connectors that Renogy makes. I use these on my last van, works really good. You just take the positive from each panel, plug it into one end, and then it gives you one positive coming out. You do the same thing with the negatives. You've got a negative coming out. So I went ahead and drilled a couple holes, one little hole for each wire rather than one big hole for the both the stuff through. You can kind of see there, that's how I did it. So I will be putting a little bit of sealant there, of course, and then bringing this down. I'll actually be sliding the wires out through here when I secure it down. I'll probably give a little good bend to the wires first because they are kind of thick to keep them from wanting to spring up like that. And then this little thing does not come with any screw holes. It's meant to just be used with glue or sealant. So I'm going to check it out, see how I feel about it. I might just drill some little pilot holes and put a few screws there. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And on the inside of the van, looking up on the ceiling, you can see where my wire holes come through here. So I'll be taking these and giving a good bend in the wire, tacking up along the ceiling there, and then coming down to the wall, maybe even going behind the paneling, and then coming out to my charge controller over here. So I won't be hooking it up till everything is completely installed up top. Then I'll work on the final touches. This whole setup here, like I've been doing the whole van, I've just been kind of building things as I go, test fitting them, pulling them out, making some modifications. So with my whole power bank solar setup, it's going to be the same. The batteries will probably move positions here. That's why they're not secured down. I just do this kind of as I go, feel it out. That way I'm not set with anything and then I have to do a tear out because it's not working out. So I'm going to kind of shift them around in a few different spots, see what works the best, get my chair in here, see how much foot room I have. Might have to go with the batteries all behind the desk, but we'll see. Like I said, I'll do a little shifting around, see what seems the best. Then when I finally have the position I think that's going to work, then of course I'll secure the batteries down, build a little box for them so they're protected. And that'll be a done deal. Still haven't got the wires completely hooked up, but this is my little secure job here with the block and the Z bracket. Went ahead and sealed everything off, did some extra sealing around the rack there and around my roof vent. So I'm just going to let all that set and get working on the wiring inside before I actually hook this up. There is an order, I'll have to look on the paperwork, there is an order for hooking up solar panels as far as the charge controller and the batteries, which you want to hook up first, so we'll make sure we'll do that correctly. Okay, so now we're moving inside to finish up the wiring for the solar panels. I've decided that I think this is where I'm going to keep my battery bank, which is just under my bed right next to the desk. That way I'll be able to use the frame of the bed to secure the batteries to, and then I can build a little box off of that to cover the top of the battery. So I think that'll work out good. Was able to drill a few holes to have the wires for the solar panels to come through here, as well as the wires going to the battery bank. And I'll probably drill a couple here for the inverter too to get to the batteries. So I think that's going to be the final install. So I did hook up the charge controller. You can't see that. Well, maybe you can. It's on. So I did get my little Renogy sheet out here, and they do say to always remember to connect your charge controller to your battery before connecting your panels to your controller. So I do have the controller hooked up to the batteries. Now it's time to go up top, plug in my final connectors so that these are live. And I've got these set up to where the first one here is the positive. The second one here is the negative. That way they line up right with the positive and negative here. So go up top to do the final connection. Alright, so we made our final connection here. So now we have our positive and our negative going into the van. So we'll go back in and connect these to the charge controller, and we should be getting some charge. Got a little bit of shade where I'm at, but we should see something. And I will be taking zip ties and securing all these once I'm sure that everything is working. Alright, so we got all of our wires connected there. Happy with that. And I went ahead and connected the remote little monitor for the charge controller so we can see that a little bit better. Not really sure where I'm going to mount this. We'll probably be up around the desk area somewhere so we can see that easily. So you can get a shot of this here. So I was able to kind of mess around with this a little bit. I do have the manual out to kind of help me. Just wanted to make sure I have it set to the proper battery type, which it is for my AGM batteries. You can see it is at 13.2 volts. It's already charged up a little bit, and we are looking at 2.2 amps coming in, or 2.8 amps. So it looks like everything is working. Awesome. Alright, everything seems to be working good. I just kind of temporarily wired up my fuse block there. Just hooked up my fan to get a little airflow in here. It's feeling good. Got the fan working there. So I'm probably going to call it quits here for today, and then tomorrow get into securing down the batteries and getting a little box or covering built for them. And then I can start thinking about running all my wire for my lighting so I can get my paneling up. I'd really like to get that done in the next couple days before I head out to Quartzsite. So we're going to see what I can get done tomorrow. Well, we're making progress one day at a time. We'll pick up where we left off here in the next video. Until then, I hope everyone's doing well, and we appreciate you following along. Thanks again. Take care. Peace.